Hi there, in this video tutorial we're going to step through some of the key troubleshooting associated with the hardware and software with the HeartZone application. First of all, just a little background information about HeartZone. In the elementary level, we use the HeartZone FootPod system, which contains an iPad, a bridge, also referred to as the WASP, as well as a class set of FootPods which the kids typically wear around their ankles. In the secondary schools in grades 6 through 12, we have a WASP, an iPad, and a classroom set of armbands which the kids will strap onto their forearm. With all these different pieces of hardware and software in place, we want to make sure that we are using the most up-to-date and current version. So on the iPad, there's a HeartZone app that must be installed, and that most current version is 2.33. The WASP must also be updated using the most current firmware. In order to update the firmware, you will need to make sure that you update that using a PC. It is not compatible on a Macintosh computer. And then finally, the armband sensors in grades 6 through 12 must be at version 3.40. I provided a direct link here that provides you with additional support for how to update these items, such as the WASP, the iPad app, as well as the sensors. Once those items are updated, you want to make sure the staff are logged into the iPad using the most current username and password. We have a generic username and password for each site. These were generated about 4 years ago. At that time, we were using the Dropbox system for managing files. That system is no longer available to us, and with the updates, we are using a different way to manage those files. But we still continue to use the Dropbox email address for staff to log in, as well as the password listed here. If staff aren't able to log in using the email address, which is the username and password listed here, please contact Troy Anderson. He can help you get that reset. Once logged into the system, staff will need to make sure they upload their class and participant file. There are a set of directions here that will describe how to do that. Staff can access these files by going into Campus and going into Classroom, Links and Reports, and downloading the file. And then tune into this little video tutorial here for how to import them into the HeartZone app. There have been a few questions about how to turn on the WASP or the bridge. I've included a link here that will describe that process. The key with the WASP is making sure that the LED light off to the right is flashing green once every second. If it is not doing that, please tune in the video tutorial for how to troubleshoot that process. Next is connecting to Apple TV. We've recently learned from the vendor that you can connect the Apple TV directly to the WASP, allowing you to mirror what's on the iPad to the projector. There's a video tutorial linked here that will describe, actually it's a document that will describe the steps to go through that will allow you to connect that Apple TV to the WASP and then do your screen mirroring option. If you have any trouble with that process, we can help you connect with one of our district technicians that have troubleshooted that process along the way. Just a few little tips and tricks here in terms of where to position some of these materials inside of the gymnasium. The vendor has recommended that we should place the WASP in a central location. If you're looking at a full court gym, somewhere on that center line is where the WASP should be placed. Avoid placing the WASP off into the corner of the gym, which will cause some difficulties in communicating between the bridge and the iPad. Also, make sure the WASP is not tucked into the bottom of a cart or a crate or placed at the bottom of a cart that's in the gym. It is recommended that the WASP, the red face here, is facing toward the center of the gym so it will communicate better with the armbands. They've also recommended that if you continue to have problems, try to elevate the WASP, possibly putting it on a stick or taping it up so there is a little more elevation with that. Typically, you shouldn't need to do that, but just making sure that the WASP is not tucked down into the bottom of that crate should be a helpful tip. In terms of students wearing the armbands, the vendor recommends that the armband, the outside of the armband where it has that blinking light, should be facing out on the front side of the forearm, not on the inside of the forearm. It just allows for better communication between the WASP and the armband. If you have any questions in this process or troubleshooting, we provided you with a variety of video tutorials here with some of the most frequently asked questions. You can also contact the vendor through email is probably the best. It's hard to get a hold of Joe Gooden through phone. I would recommend using the email. or we also have some of our district techs that have had some previous experience in troubleshooting this. You can also contact Troy Anderson if you have any questions along the way. Thank you for your time, and good luck.